Welcome to Greater Good Radio Hawaii, where leaders inspire leaders. Greater Good Radio Hawaii is dedicated to social entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Evan Leong, and with me is my co-host, Carrie Leong.
He accepted the task of leading Kaneohe Ranch and the Harold K. L. Castle Foundation to improve the area of Kailua and the community. He is legendary for his leadership in the redevelopment of Victoria Ward and the sale to General Growth Properties for $250 million. He had a huge responsibility because he knew before others that most of the proceeds from the business would go to charity after the owner's passing. He is heavily involved in improving Hawaii's educational system. He's also making sure the average of $7 million in grants that the Harold K. L. Foundation awards each year is put to good use and worthy causes. Please welcome to Greater Good Radio, Mitch D'Olier, President and Chief Executive Officer of Kaneohe Ranch Company and the Harold K. L. Castle Foundation. Welcome to our show, Mitch.
Carrie and Evan, nice to be here. Nice to be with you guys again.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the Kaneohe Ranch and what you do?
I'd be happy to try to do that. Kaneohe Ranch is a family-owned business that is a real estate business that was founded by a gentleman named Harold Kainalu Long Castle and his father in the early 1900s. They actually bought Kaneohe Ranch from a gentleman named Mendonca and someone else who founded it in the 1890s. And it was a cattle operation to start with. It was operated on a leasehold basis, and in 1916 Harold Castle and possibly his father made a wonderful real estate transaction. They decided to buy the fee, and they bought the fee from a lady named Nanny R. Rice, who lived in Boston in 1916. And they bought the Ahupua'a of Kailua and Kaneohe, with the exception of royal lands, that means Kamehameha schools, and with the exception of Kuleanas. So huge amount of real property in Windward, Oahu in 1916 because they wanted to own the land where the ranch was. Harold Castle operated the ranch throughout his entire life, and near the end of his life, Windward, Oahu started to urbanize. Statehood in 1959, end of World War II, and housing was developed, and he entered into relationships with contractors and others to build out residential in what we know as Kailua and Kaneohe today. And so the basis of the wealth of the family was that real estate transaction back in 1916, and someone who did enough transactions that he could pay the real property tax and keep his land. Mr. Castle died in 1967, and in 1967 he took 29% of his assets and left them to charity in something called the Harold K. L. Castle Foundation. That foundation and Kaneohe Ranch is the family business that I try to provide leadership for on a daily basis.
And then how did you end up at Kaneohe Ranch?
I had been at Victoria Ward, as you guys had known, and I am very blessed to have been given a lot of interesting challenges and great opportunities in Hawaii. While I was on the Victoria Ward board, one of my friends, Jimmy Castle, James Christian Castle, passed away. He had been on the board of the Harold Castle Foundation. And because of his wishes and family leadership, I was asked when I was at Victoria Ward, would I consider becoming a director of the Harold Castle Foundation. Kind of started there. So in around 1994, 1995, I became a director of the Castle Foundation and started a relationship again with the Castle family. When my term at Victoria Ward was concluded, the Castle family gave me the opportunity to play a leadership role with their family real estate business and the foundation.
Was this your first experience in regards to leading a nonprofit organization?
Well, this was not my first experience leading a nonprofit organization, but it was my first experience leading a foundation. I'd had the opportunity to lead Honolulu Rotary, Boys and Girls Club of Honolulu before, and so I'd had some leadership, but not really like as a job. It was more like community service.
So what were some of the growth spurts that you had to go to go through in regards to learning what had to be done and really executing on your position?
The biggest thing starting in any new job is like, what's the business or what's the activity all about? And what does it take once you've tried to understand it? What kind of skills is it going to take to get through to making a difference and to taking a step in a positive direction to do change and other things? Generally, it's understand the business, team, vision, execution. And that was true at Victoria Ward. That's been true at Kaneohe Ranch and the Harold Castle Foundation.
What is your style, though? Because you're going into a company that's already running and you're trying to figure out, their mission, their philosophy, and the way they work, and now become a part of their team.
A lot of it's communication. And in the beginning, a lot of it's just like trying to understand what everybody's doing and who everybody is, and trying to see how the teams are playing together, and trying to figure out in an early period of time what the opportunities are. And then style, I think everybody needs to have their own style. My style is who I am. There's not like a style A, style B from a book or something like that. If you lead through who you are, then you can generally be successful. And I can't lead the way Don Horner or Al Landon or Alan Doan lead. I can only lead the way I can lead.
Why not just retire after you're done with Ward?
That's a great question, and my family asked me that same question, and I've asked myself that same question. Because I had too much energy, and because the Harold Castle Foundation was too tempting and too big an opportunity to turn down. I viewed the foundation as a gigantic force for making Hawaii better. It's like, I got to give back to Hawaii because Hawaii's given me all these incredible opportunities. I could not come up with a better way to give back to Hawaii than trying to make the Harold Castle Foundation into a higher performing foundation than it already was.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.